right, so we have our value studies, we have our color studies, testing different colors, making modifications to the composition if we need to, moving these around, changing the scaling, whatever changes we need to do before we get to our finished painting. We're ironing those out in this step here and these steps here. And so once we have these and we're happy with what we have, kind of have a plan and a roadmap for a larger painting, next step is to work from one of our smaller pieces up to a larger size, but to transfer it, what we're going to do here is use a grid format or a grid method. So what we have here is these are 3x4 inch squares, and I've just marked off in 1 inch increments across the top and bottom, and left and right. And so when I'm working from a 3x4 and scaling up to, say, a 9x12, you just need to have the corresponding marks. So on here we have tick marks every 1 inch. And on here we're blowing it up and we have every 3 inches. So 1 inch here is 3 inches on here. And so what we have is in each of these little boxes corresponds to an area of the painting that is 3 times the size. So a lot of times what people do is when they grid their small drawing and then grid their large paper, they have lines going through everything and they need to erase it after the fact. But in watercolor, once you get the page wet, the pencil marks are going to stay. So I used to do the grid method on everything so I could transfer everything over, but I stopped drawing the lines in between. It's easier to do on a size like this than, you know, maybe a half sheet or something. But what I'll do is I'll just make the tick marks where I need them on all edges, and then I'll just eyeball it. So I'm looking at, say, where the position of the truck is. I know it's 1 inch over is going through the front tire, 1 inch up is a little bit above it, so it's about, you know, there's a line here where the driveway is about halfway. The truck's kind of off to the side, sort of overlapping these 2 boxes, but underneath that line. And I just eyeball here where my tick mark is, goes across, and the other 3 inch mark goes across this way. And I just draw the truck. Same thing for all the different pieces. You're just transferring what's in these 1 inch squares to these 3 inch squares. So it's a little overlap here where the building is kind of coming through this box and this box, and that'll correspond. It's kind of hard to see it, but there's a tick mark here that goes up this way, and just transferring it that way.
So like I said, I've got this where I want it. I'm happy with how it's going. I want to put a little more detail into this. And so I'm going to use, you can use whichever style you like. This one's nice because it has a little bit of flex, but in this case, I'm going for straight lines, and that's the.
So which, are you using that, which side, that
So
side,
I
that you
use-
just, that one?
I use
Okay.
this size because it's
It fits.
the right size for that.
Ah.
Yeah. Otherwise, I can flip it over and use that side, or you can even just use the point. But this is a very stiff blade.
So
whereas
it
this
would
one's
need an
very flexible.
indentation problem.
You got to be careful because that will damage your paper.
Okay,
This will too. Scratching like that is kind of a, once you're done with it, you don't want to go back over it because the paper surface is different.
and you said the second one is stiffer,
This
right?
one,
Yeah, it's not the flexible.
correct.
Okay,
Correct.
okay.
But it has that nice, it keeps a nice
does.
straight edge. So
Okay.
this one's great if you want to get in and do some, you know, some squiggly lines. Like if this was nice and wet down in here, or I guess at its almost dry stage, I could go in and click in and just scratch in really random little branches
Yeah,
for some contrast. I wouldn't want to use this for that.
okay,
This one's more organic and will give you very light,
yes,
kind of squiggly or random lines. This one's very specific and precise, which is great for putting detail in barns and buildings and that kind of thing. So I'll show you how I use this and put some detail and texture in here.
okay.
That is not. I bought the flexible one.
The
so-
flexible one is the most common, because you can use that too, because it has that,
a Zoom here.
that straight edge, which you can use.
Yeah.
It just,
Okay, no, I think that's a great
But
idea.
I don't
yeah,
have
so
to turn the
with-
gas.
for that one, it's,
I'm trying to find it.
you're laying it down a little bit more.
Yeah.
You know, you just gotta be careful where that edge is, but that can
Right.
still stay straight as well.
Right,
This
right.
stuff.
Okay.
I bought this in a set, and so these all came together.
That's a series that Lucan said.
Oh, yes. there
Yes.
are several
I
sizes.
did the same, yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's great.
So they're all, but this is the one I was using most often.
The
And
flexible.
the flexible one, because it's, I like scratching in little branches and grasses and things like that. That's a great one for that.
Okay.
But when you want to do like some texture, like I'm gonna do on this barn, but I want these straight edges, you can kind of see, I have some in there. But
Mhm.
like I said, I'll show you how I
It's
do
the
that.
last, it's the last. Just
Yeah,
keep-
I did.
just keep going all the way.
I need water, bear with me.
Now you can get your email. And it will- and it will fit you. So go back to the email, but it has the Zoom link, since you already have Zoom on there. So are you in that?
All right, and I'm gonna use, I have some gray left over my palette, and that's what I'll use. But kind of want a semi-thick mixture.
Can you go back to your email from Devin?
Devin, can you tell us the colors you're mixing, please?
Sure, I'm just using, I'm sticking with the color that I've used in the painting.
Yeah.
And I use the same colors that I listed here. So the vertigo blue, cobalt turquoise, yellow ochre, ultramarine blue, and burnt sienna.
Okay,
And it's mostly everything is vertigo blue, cobalt turquoise, and yellow ochre. The ultramarine and burnt sienna I use mostly for the darks.
Okay.
A little bit of burnt sienna back here, but I thought that was kind of distracting, so I left that out of the large version.
and is that how you're making your gray, burnt sienna, and blue?
Yes, and I added a little bit of neutral tint just to thicken it up
Okay,
a little
thank you.
bit darker. So yeah, a little neutral tint, ultramarine blue, and burnt sienna.
What's the other blue you were saying, the first blue?
Vertigo blue, which is what I use in the sky, which is this light blue.
How do you
here.
spell that?
VE4.
Oh, okay.
What's it sort of like? But you're in Messenger. What's it
sort of like?
Oh, boy, it's unique. It's a semi-opaque, so it has white in it. So it's a truer blue than cerulean. Cerulean would almost have like a bluer tint to it. And cobalt's just a darker, and then you get even darker and warmer with ultramarine. It's it's a Holbein color. Showing around, that's the vertigo blue. But
Mhm.
if you want to pass it around, please.
Yeah.
See it.
Goes back to your.
It's just the blue that I like for my styles. I think, sometimes I'll go a little bit, I'll add a little bit of cobalt or ultramarine at the top of the sky to get that richness, and then it lightens up as it goes down. But in something like this, like I said, I didn't want a lot going on in the sky. So just a little bit of vertigo blue, it's a little bit neutralized, probably with some, burnt sienna.
Cause I wanna know too.
But it's just getting, I tend to mix up what I have in my palette already.
Right.
A little bit of green, I'll use what I've already mixed up.
Did you say you used the yellow in there too?
Yellow ochre.
Okay, thank you. Sorry.
So, yeah, I hope that answers the question. So I just have a neutral. It's really just a gray. It's pretty liquidy.
I've never been.
It does not say it has anything in it, the indentum. It's just a PV60.
Did you all want to see the vertigo blue? Did you see that?
Yeah, I think I've seen it. That's a Holbein color.
There's a whole bunch.
Yeah.
Can I pass that down?
Sure.
Thank you. And this kind of thing, when you're working with a palette knife and watercolors, it's all experimentation really, as far as the consistency goes. If you go too thick, you can end up with blobs when you put it down. Which you want to avoid, but. So I just kind of, this makes it too wet, but you just want a little bit on the edge. And then just,
No, I turned.
you can see where that showed up.
I turned that.
But the volume,
Have it off. On this.
Do it, but it's difficult. So you just get a random texture, which are like, sometimes you won't get anything, sometimes you get too much. I got too much over here when I did it earlier. I just softened it out. It's all old barn wood. It can be textured and all that stuff. So. But it's just about getting those random broken texture lines, basically. And I'll do the same thing a little bit on the roof. And on the roof, you want to follow, I have a little bit of perspective here. This angle's a little steeper than this angle. So as I'm going across, if I follow that angle, I'll end up with a wrong angle on that side. So if you have that in your painting, you just want to keep that in mind, but just a little round, and it's just random. I think one of the hardest things to do is to tell your brain not to make patterns.
sure, yeah.
Your brain wants to make patterns. And so just the random lines. And I'm gonna skip some. Here, I got one that's too thick. That's all right. I can just use a damp brush. I can either just use a paper towel and dab it and see what comes up. And that's about it.
Ah, that did it.
So-
That's
So you can
Sure.
see, I mean, just like an old roof would have, there's just random texture. And same with the old siding, just random
very
texture.
cool.
But it's crisp and straight,
Mhm.
but also broken, which is nice. I like that randomness. It's kind of nice for the viewer when you can put a little bit of chaos is probably a strong word, but randomness. It lets them kind of let their brain process and figure things out. And it sort of brings them into the scene and gets them thinking about it. But just wanted to show that real quick. So that's one way you can use those palette knives for some texture. Now, one of the other things I thought of was this window here.
Yeah.
It's a little bit bigger than I wanted it. So I'm gonna use just a damp brush with a pretty good point on it. And right inside, I'm gonna wet a little bit. And I'm just going over to loosen up the paint, and then I'll dab it. And what that does is it just creates a little more highlights, which makes that window look a little smaller. Kind of adds some framing or windowsill around it and reduces the size of it a little bit.
That part, it's right angles. Do it over and over again.
And I think that's all I needed to show on that. I just wanted to give you guys an idea of how to use something like that. And I'll show, just to show an example, I think I can. Yeah, I wouldn't want to use this one on there because that straight edge is a little bit too long.
Mm,
And once you get that straight edge, if you put that texture in, it goes out of the,
Mm.
out of your area, you're kind of losing the, what's the word I'm looking for? The illusion of the texture.
Can you use a straight edge like a cut credit card, or would that be, is that just too much?
You-
Too thick?
I
Why?
think there's gonna be a little bit of a thick edge, so you might get two very close together lines. Cause it's a thicker piece, and so what you'll have is, you'll have a little bit of paint settle on this side and a little bit on that side. And then when you touch it, you might not get anything in the middle. But there's two edges, there's two corners of the card
Oh,
that can leave a little more, which maybe that's not a bad thing.
okay.
But yeah, absolutely, a credit card will work. And so the credit card can work for that, but also for scraping. But you don't want to use like a hotel key card. Is the right kind of flexible plastic. Like a regular credit card can be too thick,
Mhm.
and it can do the same. If you really get aggressive with it on damp paper, it can damage the surface too much. So using a thinner card, like a hotel key card kind of thing, or a cheaper ID,
I see.
smaller plastic,
I
that can
see.
work out well. I have an old membership card from a video store that I use. I just chopped it up into like 4 different pieces, so I have different length edges on it, and then angles for different points. But yeah, I've used that. I've got some mileage out of that one for sure.
Yeah.
And so I think for now, instead of me painting this again and having you all fall asleep watching paint dry, I think the better use of time at this point, we still have an hour and 10 minutes, is to have you all work on scaling up your value studies or your color studies to a larger size, and then start working on the painting, which is, typical format, working from back to front, light to dark, keeping the focus point where your highest contrast and sharpest lines are. Everything else in here is wet and wet. So when I did this, I drew it. I spent about 20 minutes drawing it. Like I said, I had to redo the truck. I wanted to make sure to spend some time getting this right, and the proportions of the barn and everything. But when I painted it in about an hour. I didn't wet the paper. I just painted the sky and then brought the sky down behind these trees. And that gave me a wet edge. So when I went in with the green for the background trees, the cooler green, it just bled into the blue, gave me a nice soft edge. I used thicker paint to go in and do the worms in the trees. And I left a little bit in these background trees. I painted through, but I left it lighter back here, which just gives me more flexibility for keeping some highlights in these trees. I wanted to distinguish these two from the background, but not have it be so stark that it looked like it was cut out. So I liked working with the wet and wet edges to do all that. And then I just kept working on it with continuously thicker paint and less water until I got to the point where I'm doing the darks, and then it's just very thick paint and it's pretty much dry at that point. So when I went and dropped this shadow in, I wet that first because it had already dried, and that gives me a soft edge. So there's things like that you'll keep in mind while you're working on it, but that's the typical process. But if you have any questions, what I'll do is I'll go around and I'll help people figure out the scaling up part and then the painting part. If you have questions online, unmute and let me know. If there's anything that somebody wants me to demo, as far as, if you want me to help figure out how to do the truck or working on some tree branches or whatever, just let me know. And I'm happy to demo, do a little sketching or painting to show you how that stuff goes together.
Can I look at that,
This one?
please?
Sure.
I didn't do this last week, so.
Oh, that's fine.
It seems like you get so much detail with little effort. I can't even draw a truck.
It's just practice. It's just practice. And so to show you too, for the small painting that I did, I used mostly these brushes. Really mostly, yeah. These are good for doing small paintings and studies because they have a nice tip and they'll hold enough paint and water. This I like a lot. It's a softer Princeton Neptune brush. I have a bigger version of it here. These are great for when you have paint down, but you want to go back with a wet brush and soften an edge. I like these a lot for that. And then when you're working on something like a building, I find using a flat brush helpful. And so on the small version, I use these. And on the bigger version, I use these. So I use the big mop brush for the sky. And I think also for the background trees. Sure.
If they could just take that to the copy and share the office, make a copy of that for everybody.
Sure, if you want to do that. Yeah, absolutely. That'd be helpful. That'd be great.
With this?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, if they're open, I mean,
It's probably long.
You think so? Okay. We'll see. We'll see if she has luck. But so for a bigger painting, bigger brushes. That keeps things from drying too quickly while you're still working on it. And it covers ground more quickly. This was just a matter of a couple brush strokes to get that foreground in.
so where did you see this starting again since I missed last week? Did it start with the building or did
No.
it start with the sky?
I tend to start with the sky.
Okay,
Yeah, I like to work from light to dark and from forward to back, or from back to front.
okay.
So I start with the sky, and then I let the sky run down, back behind these trees. So when I go in with the trees, I'm painting wet and wet on that edge, and so I get a nice soft edge on these trees. And
Nice.
so I kept in mind, I wanted those soft and cooler, so that they push back. And I wanted these a little more detailed, brighter and warmer, so they come forward a little bit.
So while the sky was still wet, you started with the green of the trees.
Oh, yes,
Okay, so
absolutely.
you needed both things mixed up first.
Yes, that's a great point. So I mix up my colors first. Once I have my drawing done, I'll mix up a big pile. What I did was I did a warm yellow or a warm green with a lot of yellow ochre in it. And then I did a cooler green with some ultramarine and less yellow ochre in it. And so that way I was ready to go with cooler and warmer, so I could work on it almost all at the same time. And then I had my sky blue puddle on this side. So started with the sky, went into the trees with the mixing or going back and forth between warms and cools to give some variation back here.
This is copyright protected. It's artwork, so we'll do it. It's copyright protected.
Oh, what's my copyright?
It's, yeah.
I did this, so I
You
will
know,
go.
I tried to persuade them. I won't do
I
that.
appreciate that. I'll go see what I can do. I'll try and get some copies of this for everybody. in the
Okay.
class here.
I don't know if you,
Send it
I
down.
mean, yeah, you could do that.
Oh, yeah, either way. Yep, so let me do that.
I don't have
Can
a
you-
copy of it. but-
Can you get a photo of that?
I can.
An email, just so I don't have
Oh,
to disconnect my phone here.
I had not realized you have to get it's just to be able to get this class.
Bruce,
And
I think Bruce.
Because-
No, you don't need to be on Zoom to do the class, but
Well,
it's,
I can't do this if I'm not. I can't
but
see.
that's through email. The
But,
photo
Yeah,
sent
send
through
you.
email.
but that's.
Copies on hers.
And
that's-
those,
you know what I mean?
those are all pieces that I painted in the class last time that everyone else painted too, so.
Yeah.
You know, instead of using mine, you can use your own, but it's all, whatever's helpful.
I bet once.
It's all
In
fun.
fact, how do you talk to the people that are not in the room? They're just through Zoom, isn't it?
Yes, but they can see and hear me.
I was on Zoom when I was driving in, so.
Yeah.
Yeah. that's-
I saw you living dangerously. So, yeah, the Zoom is just from,
I was just listening.
yeah, the Zoom is just allowing people who can't come to the class to participate.
Outside folks. Yeah, the outside folks, and we're all on Zoom here.
It can just be helpful.
Oh, you made it because it's in the room, but if I wanted to have this at home. I
You could
also
do it
have
at
to
home.
be-
You could zoom in, basically.
Yeah.
Just like you did here and tap
No, I
on.
didn't do it for it.
It's not, it's,
I haven't had a working thing for about a month. They had it just fixed yesterday and I haven't had time to really. Deal with it.
I emailed that to you because I don't have the distribution list,
oh, okay,
so.
gotcha. Let me,
you know, but
Devin, can I take just a photo of your finished product?
Definitely, yeah. Yeah.
Maybe I could do that.
Yeah, anyone that wants to come up, take a photo of that? Most definitely.
So
Don't,
Devin,
Yes,
you were talking about that ianthrodone blue, right?
indent throne, yes.
I just said it wrong. Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, I just thought I would share. I have it, and I have it mixed. I mixed it with Hansa yellow light, and I mixed it with yellow ochre, and the colors are really. I don't know how well you can tell, but they're really different. Like this is super gray. It's not a pretty green at all. It's very dark. Well, I mean, it's pretty, but it's not.
They're very muted.
Yeah, very muted green. And this is a very bright green. So,
Definitely.
and you can see how dark that blue gets. It gets super dark.
Yeah, I wasn't 100 sure. I thought the indent throne blue was very rich.
Yeah.
Can you tell what pigments are in that
Oh, yeah.
mix? Is there a black in there?
no,
I don't know.
Okay, it's just, okay. Yeah, Bruce said there's no black in it, but yeah, I thought it was a really rich color.
Cadmium blue gives you.
Yeah.
hopefully green.
Okay, and Bruce is suggesting cadmium yellow
Yeah, try
will
cadmium
mix and make a nice green with that.
Oh, okay. Instead of Hansa yellow light.
Yeah, but
Of
that's
course, I
what,
don't have
just
cadmium.
PB
yellow.
60.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just thought it's funny. I don't think it shows up very well on the computer, but in real life, it's really dramatic.
I can see the difference. Yeah, definitely. That one is very gray.
Right, right.
And yeah, the other one's a little richer, like a nicer spring green,
Mhm.
minty.
Oh.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you. So I think,
So we go back here,
so you can see that's the indent throne here too.
you're back in Zoom.
Okay.
So that's, I mean, that is a,
Be nice for a
it's a
stormy
nice-
cloud.
It's a nice.
I mean,
color.
a stormy sky.
It's
the
a
indent
nice
throne,
looking
yeah.
color. I don't know if you can see, there's a little bit of granulation. in
Have a
there.
little Payne's gray to it, really.
Yeah, that's nice.
You need that, but, yeah.
Now we just have to.
They request.
Yeah, because you weren't here when I did that for most of it, right? So one of the questions was a little assistance, I guess, on how to draw the truck. And I kind of go back to like my old school ways here of really just breaking it down into basic shapes. So if you imagine, sorry, that's so small. Imagine the side of the truck. And because it's not totally side on, we can see some of the front of the truck. And so you can see there's the bumper, grille, lights. And you'll have a wheel well, back tire, front tire. You're gonna see the wheels that are on the other side, peeking out from underneath. And then almost a box for the top, but we're gonna angle the front of it. And then a little highlight on the top. But that is basically, you just start with a rectangle, add a smaller one in the front. Position the wheel wells and the wheels, and then, I don't know what you call that, it's not a parallelogram, but is that a rhombus? Trapezoid, thank you very much. I need to be able to school me on my maths. And then the all-important shadow to ground it. But in essence, you're just looking at a rectangle for the side, a rectangle for the front. Almost a rectangle, but just with a slanted front for the windshield. Side mirrors, whatever. And then what I did on this was, you can see I just put a little spot of red for the tail light and a little orange for the blinkers up front. It's really small little pops of color, but they kind of help distinguish. In case the shape of the truck wasn't good enough, you would know that the red lights are usually in the back.
It's interesting, you sometimes can get a drawing or painting of a truck or a car. And it's only by putting in the headlights or the tail lights, if you know which way it's going, and it's totally believable after that.
Yep. Yeah, because you can do a lot of that in Joseph Zbukvich paintings. he does like the front of the car with the tires looking like pretty much straight on,
Uh-huh.
and then the windshield. And that's pretty much it. I have a little shadow. I'm watching the phone screen while I'm drawing this, which was probably a mistake. But I mean, that's almost what he does for a car. And then I'll have a dark windshield, a little highlight for the roof on the top.
You're part of the police car, that's what's kind
You could put police lights on it, you could put an
No, it
antenna.
looks like you did.
But what he'll do is, in order to make this look like it's going away from us or towards us, he'll either drop red paint for taillights or white paint for headlights.
Isn't that neat? Yeah.
And so, and you'll have a little grill here or whatever, but that's really, I mean, there's really rough. Like I said, I'm looking at my phone while I'm drawing this. So I'm like, but just to give you an idea, I mean, that's, you're breaking it down into real simple shapes, but yeah, and then of course, Joseph Bukovic would have long highlights, reflections, because he does a lot of wet road stuff, but yeah. You can use gouache to drop those headlights in, or thick red paint for the taillights. But it's nice to drop those colors in while things are wet. You go in with very thick paint and it will just fuzz out a little bit and you'll get kind of a glow around those lights.
So your gratitude, Rock Hall.
Oh, it's near Rock Hall, so it was a different trip. So
Yeah.
Rock Hall, not Bombay Hook. Okay, thank you. That's right.
Here's one I took right in York.
Oh.
You know where that church that got hit like twice?
Yes.
Yeah.
Come around that corner, it's right there. I thought that was kind of an interesting.
That's-
I'll hold it
I
up.
love old vines, all that stuff. That's really very cool.
Hold it up for a minute.
Oh, yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. You don't even notice it because it's right by the college.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just a whole mess everywhere, but then that little thing is just sitting there all by itself.
See,
It wants to be painted.
That's
Yeah.
it again. That's it. That's it again. I'll show you again soon. So this is what we're looking at next. Really cool.
That is
Yeah.
nice. Look at that.
Here in New-
Great,
Yeah,
great lighting.
that would be fun to paint.
Yeah.
Nice shadows. The front.
Yeah,
the
really
sides,
hard
all that.
angles to do. Uh-oh.
Lots of texture, fun stuff,
Lots of texture.
neat trees. Yeah, that'd be a fun one. Good eye. A little less than 10 minutes to go. Everyone online doing all right?
Yeah,
Excellent. Excellent. Perfect. How about in class? Everybody doing all right?
I even have road to that. Where do you start? It's the little ones.
You picked these colors. You did several trials with a variety of colors.
Yep.
right?
Like I said, I'll take a picture of this and send it out.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is what I did. I'm using normal colors, grays and neutrals. And I use other blues, yellows, and red. And then blue, yellow, and red. And different versions. Mostly for this one, I'm using, for these.
No, no.
I can use just random colors and stuff.
Yeah.
I use anything I've seen. But yeah, just the colors I used. That was that blue, grays and yellow, and highlight red. These are very spring kind of colors.
Right.
I like kind of a pale, really black. And it needs to kind of be more like summer, very,
Right.
yeah, just using those different colors, it shows how it can change the feeling of the scene, the mood, the time of day, the time of year. Just with changing colors.
Yeah. Now, I do not. Okay. I don't know what's happening. I don't have.
That's just kind of like my cheating, my tube green.
Oh, okay.
So it just helps get me to a green, and then I usually warm it up with, yellow, or they're all cool, then I'll show you blue. I'll show you.
Okay.
And if you, I can actually,
Is there
So
a,
you start with the turquoise
yes. but I'm
as
starting with the
your
green.
main, yeah.
Yeah, like, a lot of times, unless I have, some yellow ochre or some blues in my palette already. I'll add it to that.
Okay,
Um,
Cause I thought, well, if I do like cerulean and then a yellow, a tiny bit of a yellow, that.
And that's what doing those studies
yeah,
Yeah. that's-
will show you,
Yeah.
because you can do. The old one, cerulean, or run a yellow one, cerulean, and then you try. Heavy yellow, the or ultramarine, you can see how it shifts those colors.
Yeah,
And how those color shifts shift the mood. And the feel. of the
Right.
scene.
but you really don't, like, you don't really know it. So. That's fine, I see Nick had it.
Okay.
I just don't have it in my palette. But we really don't want to have a whole bunch of different.
I have enough.
You really want to have something on red.
Yeah.
Some blue.
A lot of times, I will run with, you know, just primary colors like that. Red, red,
So, oh, okay.
then they can use them like those. In the shade.
Okay, great, that's a great.
I'll make a note to send, there's a YouTube artist named Yang Chen. And he does absolutely incredible paintings using 3 colors,
Yeah.
a yellow and a red and a blue. I think he uses Windsor blue, Windsor red, or CAD red maybe, or, but he just uses very basic.
Two winter colors, I think. maybe
Yeah.
yellow and blue and blue.
Yeah, I can't remember which two, but yeah.
Yeah.
But I'll send that link out as well.
Great.
It's really amazing to see what he does with just 3 colors.
Yeah. Okay, that's great, thank you.
Sure.
It looks like you could do a little camping. on it.
Yeah. Well, I forgot to draw in. I forgot.
Around it.
Then from the photo, I see it really has a reflection on the roof.
Oh, on the barn, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I did this one,
Is it hers?
I added a little bit of vertical blue
Did you leave that
into
next time?
to give a little bit of the sky color.
2 times ago. 2 times ago. Yes, it is.
Bruce was just commenting about
Debbie
a little bit of
found it,
color,
and
because
knew
this is
she
a
was
metal
gonna be
roof
here
will
next
reflect
time.
the
Asked
sky.
me to give it to you and I forgot.
So I
And
added,
I
it's
just-
really hard to see,
you
just a
two
little bit of
talking about-
vertical blue in here, just to show that.
I just need some.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
I thought my cat was. Cats will do that.
you having people share? Oh, no.
Yeah, if any-
I'm not, but I.
If anyone wants to share what they've been working on, now is a great time.
Oh,
I see no takers.
no take.
That's okay. That's all right. Oh, wait,
Wait,
we have someone.
We have someone, uh-oh.
So, right, yeah, so I just did a little experimentation with
Yeah.
the colors. I'm probably still gonna go for an undercoat, get my tools with cobalt blue, and probably use yellow ochre, so I don't get unwanted greens. And then, Rossi and cobalt turquoise work nicely. I'll probably put some lavender in parts of the sky. Kind of hard to see that there, but I'll hold it up. And then a burnt sienna, basically inverted or blue, give you a brownish that I think I'll probably use in there.
Beautiful.
Isn't that nice?
It's very soft and smooth.
Yeah, it's a transparent brown oxide. But, it's a,
Bird sound is similar.
oh, yeah, they're very close.
Okay.
Very close. Don't get quite the red in burnt. Get burnt sienna. Although oddly enough, it's a red pigment.
Yeah, yeah. Interesting. Awesome. Thank you, Bruce. I'm gonna go ahead and end the recording.
Okay, bye.